few minutes, we will be discussing our new numbers for today, as well as what our color-coded map looks like this week. Sadly, our situation continues in Ohio to worsen. For my fellow Ohioans who have felt that until now this virus really did not impact their life, did not impact their family, and who have said, I'll pay attention when it gets serious. I'll pay attention when it threatens me and my family. The message to them today is, it is now serious. And it's time for all of us to come together. Truly, we need you. We need each and every one of you. We need you to be fully engaged in this battle. When, in a few minutes, you see the data, when you see how fast the virus is spreading across Ohio, when you see that the virus has spread and penetrated into virtually every county, extensively in every county, I think it will become clear that we all must together fight back. We all must be engaged. Today's Wall Street Journal former New Jersey Governor Christie has written a very powerful op-ed piece on his personal experience with COVID. Governor Christie, in his characteristic way of speaking bluntly and straight to the American people, said that he'd been wearing his mask for 7 months and then he didn't. He was diagnosed with COVID-19, spent a week in the ICU fighting the disease. He's with us today to tell his story. And so, Governor, thank you very, very much for joining us. I underline one part of your op-ed. I just thought it was so strong. And I'll just read it before I turn it over to you. This is your words, talking about wearing a mask, keeping a distance. These minor inconveniences can save your life, your neighbor's life, and the economy. Seldom has so little been asked for so much benefit. Governor, you're looking good. Thank you for joining us.
Governor, thank you for having me with you this morning, or this afternoon rather. And let me first just commend you for the job that you're doing in Ohio. You have been a consistent, strong voice right since the beginning of this pandemic, and I'm happy to be a part of your presser today. Listen, I think the easiest way to start this is to say, I thought I was safe, and I was wrong. I got tested every day when I walked into the grounds of the White House for the 4 days that I was doing debate prep with President Trump. I was assured, sitting in the third row of the Amy Coney Barrett ceremony, which happened after our first session of debate prep, that everyone in the first 3 rows had been tested that day and tested negative. I was assured that everybody in debate prep had been tested. And so I took my mask off. When I get to the gates of the White House, I had my mask on. When I walked through the gates and found out that I had tested negative at the White House medical unit, I took my mask off and I left it off, but only for the time that I was inside those gates. As soon as I left to walk back to my hotel, I put my mask back on immediately, kept it on when I was in the hotel lobby, walking down the streets. And only took it off once I got back in my room by myself. I did that for 4 days out of 7 months that we've been going through this pandemic. And 3 days later, I began to feel what I call the freight train of symptoms that happened with COVID-19. Fever, headaches, incredible body aches, chills, sweats, and it overcame me in a period of 24 hours to where I'd gone from feeling fine and doing my work on a Friday afternoon to by Saturday at 1 o'clock being admitted to the hospital and taken immediately to the intensive care unit, where I stayed for the next 6.5 days. And during that period of time, I will tell you, it is a frightening experience. I want everybody out there who's listening to understand that this is one of the most unpredictable, random, and brutal viruses you'll ever see. And every day my doctors would come in and tell me, well, things are looking a little bit better or a little bit worse, but we can't guarantee you that within an hour it won't turn significantly worse. And with my history as an asthmatic since I was 13 years old, they were very concerned about how this would go for me. So my message to the people of Ohio and to the people of this country, which is why I did the op-ed, is that there's no place to hide from this virus if you're not going to take this common sense steps that the CDC and the NIH have recommended to us. Wear a mask when you're outside, remain socially distanced from people, no big crowds, and wash your hands frequently. I came out of this okay, and I'm very fortunate. I still feel some of the symptoms, fatigue most particularly, and my doctors say it could last for quite some time. But I survived. I'm alive, and it very well could have gone the other way. And for 220,000 other Americans, it has. So I just want to urge as many people as I can, don't let your guard down. It's not worth it. I went through it. I made a huge mistake by taking that mask off. And it's something that I hope no other Americans have to go through.
Well, thank you so much for not only being on our presser today, but, for just speaking out, for writing the op-ed, for sharing your experience. As you told the story to me before we went on the air, now as you tell it again, the psychological impact of a doctor telling you that must have been just terrifying. I mean, when they come in every day and say, yeah, you're doing maybe okay, or, but this thing could turn like that.
Governor,
I can't imagine that,
It was, and the thing that adds to it is you're in isolation. I was in the intensive care unit, but in isolation behind 2-inch thick glass. The glass was so thick that you couldn't hear the nurses on the other side of the glass. They would hold up a whiteboard, either giving me instructions or asking me questions, and I had a whiteboard to write back to them. And when they came in, they were in heavy PPE. And so you're just left alone with your thoughts. And, that's one of the things that I think people don't understand about this disease, because it's so random, because so little is understood, that, when you're there and you're going through it, the psychological effect that it has on you, and it certainly had on me, was significant. You start to think about, life and death, and you're in the throes of, at the same time, the way I described it to one of my friends was, it's like getting beaten up from the inside out. And that combination of physical and psychological stress is unique in my life, and pretty extraordinary. So I can't emphasize enough. I know how tired everybody is of this. I know it. I felt it myself. But I will tell you that as tired as you are of strapping that mask on or going to the sink and washing those hands again, I can tell you, you will take those days in a heartbeat compared to getting this disease.
Well, and being, as you describe it, being basically in total isolation during this time, no family, no ability to, have somebody love there with you or hold your hand or do anything. It just must have been, it must be very tough. Thank you.
Governor, thank you for giving me the chance to talk to the people of Ohio today and to be a part of your team. I support what you're doing out there. I want to tell the people of Ohio that, from my experience, what the governor's advising you to do is exactly the right thing to do. And I hope that you follow his advice and direction. He has learned a great deal about this over the last 7 months, and he's been an incredibly articulate spokesman for the people of Ohio and for what we need to do to battle this pandemic. So you're all in my prayers. And Governor, thank you for giving me the time to be with you today and to continue to spread this message.
Well, Governor, thank you for doing it. Thank you for having the courage to describe what happened to you and your experience. And, I think that getting that story out, we'll never know, but I'm sure it will save lives. It will save other people from some real agony and their families from going through that as well. So you're looking great. You're feeling pretty good. A little tired, but you look good.
Thank you.
Governor, thank you.
Well, thank you, Governor. I sure hope it does save some lives, both in Ohio and around the country. And God bless you for what you're doing.
Thank you. God bless you too. Thank you very much. Thanks, Governor.